Hi everyone, welcome to Spectra event, and this is a session which is special. When I call it special, it's aptly termed as Lounge Specials. And the reason why I'm terming this as Lounge Special is twofold. One, the theme what we will talk about in this particular session is very strategic, yet this is not often discussed. And second part is that we've got two very eclectic, very seasoned practitioners in AI analytics and data science who have lived through the journey of what the theme is all about. If I just build a kind of a pretext about the theme, we are going through this frenzy about AI, Gen AI, in a lot of spheres of industries today. And that frenzy is not just sticking around within the enterprise, it's taking a boardroom conversation agenda as well. CXOs, senior leaders, board members, they're equally keen to really see how one can build an AI powered enterprise. Now, that's something when we look at in terms of building an AI powered enterprise, it's not strategic, it's not tactical, it's not operational, it's a sum total of all the things put together, which means organizations have no choice but when they are thinking about crafting or building an AI powered enterprise, they need to be as strategic as they could be. And this is nothing but a CXO and a boardroom level agenda. With that, I would like to introduce two of our speakers out here. Seema Gopal, she is the General Manager, Commercial Data Science at Shell. Very seasoned background and very, I would say, a very definitive approach in terms of how she looks at analytics and AI. And for the sake of the audience, we will actually use Gen AI analytics in the same continuum. Our second guest is Biswajit Das, Bishwa as he's fondly known. He is the head of data and analytics for AWS India and SAC. Brings a very, what I call a multifaceted experience working with tons of, I would say, clients from digital platforms to Indian enterprises to global enterprises. And he's looking from a movie perspective day in, day out, what this AI is all about. With that, let me open up Seema and Bishwajit in terms of really looking at first to kick off this entire thing is look, it's a very strategic agenda when we talk about building an AI powered enterprise. From your lens, what winds of change you are witnessing when it comes to building an AI powered enterprise? Seema, I would like you to start first, please.
Yeah. Hi, Samir, and hi, Viswa. The question you bring up, Samir, is an interesting one because we see a very definite wind of change happening. There is, especially after the announcement of Gen AI, the investors want to know from the CEO what is his agenda, his or her agenda for AI in their organization. So I see the CXO community, especially our own CEO, talking more and more about AI and how they want to employ AI in their organization to meet the financial numbers that we report or our business performance. So that pressure from investors has increased to demonstrate how an organization is actually leveraging AI. A second winds of change is the climate with the whole conflicts in Ukraine, in Middle East, especially for an organization like mine. These are big factors, and big factors that shift the organization towards saying, how do I improve my business performance in all this volatility, and then how do I safeguard value within the organization? And both of these need AI as a lever in every part of the business, in short, right? And one incorrect decision can destroy big value in the organization. Third one, I would say a big trend I see around is the caution in the air with respect to AI. Yeah, there is the EU AI Act coming up that forces us to be cautious, but there is also that general sense of caution around the prohibited cases of AI and general purpose AI, especially. Right. So these are a couple of things that I see all around me.
Great. Bishwa, you interact and interface with multiple organizations day in, day out. What is that you are witnessing?
So yeah, Sabir, I think, and obviously the parts that Seema spoke about, I love that. Also, I love the Scorpio reference to winds of change. So therefore, well done on that, Samir. Unfortunately, also it gives us both our ages, right, when we talk about it. But I think we're seeing two distinct types of enterprises, right? Obviously, the conversation is right front and center. One are enterprises who are still in the cycle of hydrating themselves, experiencing AI in its various avatars, doing POCs, etc. And the others are who were already fairly mature organizations in terms of some of those technologies and now have figured ways in which they can impact their business. And the surprising thing is, when you look at the second ones, right? We actually did a large survey of CDOs with Tom Davenport, and we grew up reading Tom Davenport, right? Learning from
Mhm.
him. Unsurprisingly, I think 8 out of 10 CDOs said that AI and Gen AI is going to change their business drastically. But surprisingly, only I think 30% of them were confident that their data foundation is ready for AI. So when you look at the organizations which were more mature, they have suddenly figured out that unless and until you have a foundation which is a complex ecosystem of whether it is storage, databases management, governance, etc., until all of that is in place, you can't efficiently, effectively, or ethically scale up AI and put it to production, right? I think that's one major conversation that I am seeing. The other major conversation has finally gone and been fixed in a space where people are saying they're looking at AI applications in three layers. They're saying, is it price performant? Because it's the shiny new thing, but it is a compute guzzler. So is it price performant? Does it make sense from an ROI perspective? Do I have enough choice, whether it is in foundational models, right? Whether it is in how do I configure my guardrails of privacy, of ethics, etc., am I being given choice? Because every new week there is something new. So you want to be able to see if I can flip to the new one. Is it better? Is it more efficient, cheaper? And the third is, how do I get immediate value out of it? And immediate value largely is coming from whether it is, uh, uh, whether it is productivity assistants and agents, right? Embedded AI in applications, that top layer of the pyramid. So I think largely we see customers who have figured out what they want out of AI, veering towards this right side of it. While of course it's brilliant that organizations are also excited and hydrated, but I do think that there is a journey to getting to being actually able to unleash AI at scale.
No, so very fantastic set of points what both of you articulated. In fact, that's also a segue for me to get into a second set of this discussion. Uh, this aspect about building an AI powered enterprise, Seema Vishwa, is nothing new. I mean, we saw that during analytics phase as well, kind of a thing. Of course, now it's gone to a stage where the boards and I would say the CXOs are having a FOMO factor, and there is a very, I would say, high rush to say, look, can we fast track, accelerate what we've been doing so far? Which also means, to the point, Bishwa, what you started with, or rather ended with as a part of your response was the journey side. Building an AI powered enterprise is a journey. And that journey is very unique and very nuanced for each and every enterprise, given their scale, size, and heterogeneity all around. Now, in your side of the world, what you see and what you've gathered and aggregated over the years of experience, and let me put that in a kind of a moment of, I would say, fast track mode. Give us three indications or three strategic approaches. How do organizations should build AI powered enterprise?
So I think, and Samir, if it's okay, I think I'll be better able to answer it with a slightly different simile, right? So
Sure.
how I look at it, organizations will adopt AI in an inverted pyramid fashion, right? Now, at the top of the pyramid are organizations who will use AI, which is embedded in applications that they use. And therefore, they don't really care what AI. They are using the applications, they're used to it, the AI actually works beneath the surface. And that will be the largest group of organizations, folks who will work. On the layer under it is people who will largely do prompt engineering. And I say prompt engineering because I do know that it's more associated with Gen AI, but in the broader context, it's saying that coding has a new language, English, right? So whatever you code, it'll become ultimately be coding in natural language. Just under it will be organizations who understand the context of their business a little more, and none of what's available off the shelf works, and therefore they'll be doing some sort of contextual search or RNG based applications, right? Under that, our organizations will be fine tuning models, and at the bottom of the pyramid, our folks will actually be creating or at least picking off from another foundation model to create a new foundation model, right? The thing is that when organizations say, I want to do AI and therefore need a strategy, we need to sit back and see which parts of the pyramid do I fit in? Does my need fit in? Because it's brilliant that everybody wants to create or find foundation model, but is it needed? It's like saying I can buy a tank to take my children to school, but is that the most optimum use of my time and money, right? And therefore, the moment this becomes clear, which part of it will I rear, it has an impact on the skills and talents that you hire or bring in to the organization. It also has an impact on the technology that you adopt, right? And finally, it has an impact on where the budget that you've allocated is going towards. It's going towards saying, here, let's buy an application which is AI enabled, or is it going towards saying, I want more compute because I want to fine tune the model, right? And that's largely how I look at it.
Great. So, Seema, he's already given an inverted approach, true to Biswa's way of how he looks thing, which is absolutely very, very, I would say, nuanced. Let's hear your approach, Seema.
Yeah, I think whatever Biswa said, I like that. And I think it probably fits well with a digitally native organization, which, has all the mindset in the organization to drive digital initiatives, drive AI. In an organization, the one I come from, right, which is not digitally native, the leadership has not necessarily thought of AI as a strategic choice for a long time, and they are and now having to adopt that and make it part of the boardroom conversation is a different thing for them. Yeah, it's not the usual thing they have done always. But I think they see the opportunity with AI to achieve the strategic objectives, and therefore it has now become that conversation: how do I include AI as part of my enterprise strategy? So, for example, in Shell, one of the key strategic imperatives is accelerating the energy transition, right? How do I improve or accelerate my ability to produce green electrons, green molecules, and not just produce, but make our customers ready to work with or to use those energy forms, right? And all of that requires a lot of research and development. There is also the commercial angle, but let's first talk about the research and development, right? That's required. The experimentation. A lot of research and experimentation around producing green products can be really accelerated with AI now, especially Gen AI, right? We see examples of that happening across the board. The experiments that would have taken 3 months, 6 months can be done within a couple of weeks now, right? So it's a huge opportunity to align that strategy of energy transition with using AI to do that acceleration. Second is, I come from, I report my line reports to the CFO. So I come from the finance organization, and one big strategic imperative there is to improve commercial decision making. Yeah. Shell being what it is, every decision, some of these could be macro decisions that involve billions of dollars. Some could be micro decisions, things like, what product do you put in the shelf in the forecourt of, the store that you get into when you're, filling fuel for your car. So it could be micro decisions or macro decisions, working capital related decisions that can impact millions or billions of dollars. And it is a no-brainer now for them that AI needs to figure there in that strategy, right? Every part of that commercial decision happening across the organization should use data, should use a mathematical scientific foundation to make that decision. Um, the third one is the ability of to improve the ability of the guardians in the organization to optimize our processes. Right? Because a big, agenda for every CXO is now to reduce OPEX, and it's not just cutting headcount and doing that. It's also about squeezing our business processes, optimizing them to generate that value. So that's another area where AI has to play a big role, especially in an organization like Shell. Lastly, I think it's about improving our ability to scale the operating model, because again, in an industry like ours, we are um, the the business models are changing so often. With even if you just take EV charging as an example, it's not easy to scale that business, or it's not easy to scale the business of biofuels, so, or hydrogen as a fuel, right? So each of these areas need an organization like Shell to be able to scale it, and to scale it you need solutions built with AI. So from an enterprise strategy perspective, AI figures or plays a role in each of those strategic imperatives.
Great. So let me ask both of you, and this is in the same context. We've all got used to in the past when we have seen these theories around core competencies, business intelligence, and thing around Six Sigma, Kanban, JLT. Now, suddenly, when we're talking about AI powered enterprise, and we are talking about, let's say, some value chains to be decoded and really deconstructed, are we saying some of the relevant theories of the past, the management theories, may not be relevant today?
Yeah, maybe let me take a shot at that. And you are not going easy, right? Are you on us? But let me take a shot at that. I think so. I call these the dogs not barking, right? I mean, everybody knows, is either consciously or subconsciously aware that AI is going to have an impact on business, right? But there are some dogs not working, and the two biggest ones for me is, number one, this entire talent matrix in a large organization is going to go through such an upheaval, not just because you will need more people who understand AI can build AI applications. That's the smaller bit. If you look at any large organization's data talent, a large part of it, they do, unfortunately, undifferentiated heavy lifting. There is the ETL pipelining, people writing SQL queries, some form of queries, Python code, etc., etc. And that in the next 6, 12, 18 months is going to get completely rewritten, right? Because the whole idea of large platforms, for example, like ours, is to abstract away those complexities and those undifferentiated heavy lifting. Whether it is to saying, why do you need to write a pipeline to get data from place A to place B? And if you look at our entire strategy, we have put a muscle behind saying it should be a zero ETL world, right? Data should happen on its own. Can somebody else manage the data, look at the veracity of the transaction, etc., etc.? And that's the same across. Today, you can actually get into a traditional SQL warehouse, SQL based warehouse, and write codes in English within the application, right? So, therefore, the entire talent matrix is going to totally be turned on its head. As organizations, I don't think we have figured out how do we still best leverage the people that we have, because that doesn't make people redundant. We just make them better, more productive, and therefore, what do we do? That's one side, right? On the talent. The second is, every time I have a conversation about AI, largely 80% of the conversation is efficiency, productivity. Correct? Whether it is like Seema was saying, FB and fact-based negotiation for large corporations like Shell, AI is already making an impact, saying how can I negotiate better with its contractors, customers, etc., etc. Right? One of the things that we're not looking around corners at. There are very inherent business models which are big, which have the potential to be disrupted. Let me give you a quick example of the fashion industry for the matter. Right now, everything that happened till production, which is design, choice of apparels, etc., till production was with the organization. The customer had a choice which they could then buy, and then it was the organization's responsibility to ship it, whether physical, if it's done through virtual, etc. Today, that value chain has gone a little shifted a little back.
Hmm.
Organizations are giving customers the ability to actually be a part of the design philosophy, even at mass market scale, right? And that is actually disrupted an entire value chain of a business. And I think that's what will really drive value tomorrow. I love the fact that efficiency, productivity is a major theme, and those are the low hanging fruits. But people who can figure out how do you actually shift around the value chain of a business, I think they are the ones who will really make an impact with AI on the businesses.
Upheaval is the word what you mentioned, which I take as part of what you started with. Quickly, and this is something I would have put as we've hit time. Boards, CXO, and I want a very quick takeaway and rather just one pointer response from you. Now, if building an enterprise which is AI powered or AI first needs to happen, the board's senior leaders have to come together. What is that one thing you would like to see? And this is your own, I would say, viewpoint, not necessarily something what you see that with an organization, but could be an independent viewpoint. What is that one point you would like to see? One strategic perspective you would like to see changing if the board's senior leaders, CXOs, would like to drive or would like to trigger an AI powered enterprise? Just one pointer, please. Anyone can go first.
Seema, go first while I think it.
Yeah. I think the best thing that could happen is the really senior leaders in the organization, they start understanding the digital space better. Yeah? Again, I speak from a non-native digital organization where people are used to the conventional business models, but their ability to inspire their whole organization to digitally transform their operations and their business models is going to be key. So I wish more and more very senior leaders in the organization being able to comfortably talk about digital, talk about AI, talk about the risks of AI, and that will percolate and work in all parts of the organization to drive the AI agenda. So I wish that would happen. More of that would happen.
Great. Bishwa?
So I agree, right? And thankfully, this is one of the few times where the enthusiasm in boardrooms for a technology. I mean, I can't fault it. The enthusiasm is brilliant. There is, but I'm going to say what I say in all boardrooms nowadays. I keep saying this. I say, don't fall in love with the solution. Fall in love with the problem, because we don't buy technology for technology's sake. You shouldn't adopt technology for technology's sake. If it makes an impact on your business, then yes. Don't retrofit and force fit it because it's the talk of the town. Pretty much.
Don't fall in love with the problem. I like that. And with the chat GPT and so many open Gen AI tools, maybe at some level it will be that we will hit a wall in terms of solving the problems. And what we will ask everyone will be to reinvent the problem so that we can solve it again. With that, thank you so much, Seema, Bishwa, because this is something, if we really look at in terms of aggregation of what you just, uh, I would say, articulated through your perspectives and viewpoints, I think the whole stream of flow of conversation uh, is strategic, where I think in a mode of what you rightfully mentioned, like everyone is aware that look, the models, the processes are going through a change. It's a matter of time for everyone to embrace, start internalizing, and really adopt to the core what AI should do for the organization. And it's as nuanced, as contextualized as it should be. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Samir.